Okay, opening today's show is Dr. Carla Semper. She's with Life Extension. She's a PhD. She's actually a molecular pharmacologist. She's going to be talking about, do you think stress can induce hunger in you? Do you ever feel like that when you're stressed out? Can it add pounds to you? She's going to be talking about that. Then Dr. V, you know and love Dr. V, right? She's going to be in talking about healing emotional wounds. Wow, talk about stress. Then later on in the show, I'm going to do a segment, are we inhaling and eating commonly known carcinogens? Is that why we're seeing this uptick in all cancers today? All that, and I assure you a whole lot more on today's Know the Cause. Today's Know the Cause is brought to you by Life Extension. Stay healthy, live better. My name is Doug Kaufman. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists. And soon you too will know the cause. I am so thrilled because today is Life Extension Day. Dr. Darla Semper joins us today. And we want to talk about something that no doctor really is looking at when it comes to the 30-40% of Americans who are overweight, carrying a little too much, or are morbidly obese, and that is stress. So Dr. Semper and I are going to talk about that in the next 10 minutes, and she has some resolve for that. Welcome.
I do.
Thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Love seeing you guys with Life Extension. What an amazing company you work for. I must tell people that you're a molecular pharmacologist.
Correct.
A PhD in
Yes.
molecular pharmacology. And I think it's so wonderful that those brains have come over to a company with equally big brains. I mean, you guys I bet you guys have a think tank at Life Extension that's just extraordinary.
We have a pretty strong discovery research team that has a great leader.
And I think it's so great that you see the value of the pharmaceutical industry and
Absolutely.
all the breakthroughs there, and then get to see on this side of it too. So,
And the one thing that you don't realize is that a lot of those pharmaceuticals come from a natural compound.
Isn't that wild?
Yep.
Isn't that wild?
Yep.
So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for
you.
being with us today, and it's Dr. Semper, okay? Now, I just said that stress can induce overweight or obesity. I mean, that's kind of
Yes.
interesting, can it?
It's very interesting. Have you ever been very frustrated with your day, like stuff is not going right?
No. You knew the answer to that, right? You were
I
with me in the
have.
green room, you know that. Yeah.
Yes, I have. And when I used to be in the laboratory doing experiments that just wouldn't work, I would go down to Au Bon Pain and get myself a nice pumpkin muffin
There you go.
afterwards.
There you go.
So there was that hunger. There was that, I'm stressed out, and then you get hungry. And what's causing that is actually cortisol.
Okay. The stress hormone?
The stress hormone. So what it does, what it tells your brain is that you need to eat. And you might overindulge in eating, and that's where the added weight comes on. That's where the leptin resistance might come from, and a whole slew of other problems, and then this increased abdominal adiposity.
Okay, so you're putting pounds on. Is
Correct.
What you, adipose,
Correct.
right? And so Life Extension, see, this is the brilliance, folks. This is why I use their products. I love their products. Life Extension has figured this out. Take all the research. Gee, wouldn't it be neat if we could very safely come up with products that would help people with their stress, right?
Yes.
Okay, so do tell.
So we have our advanced cortisol balance. It's a great formulation that helps you naturally balance your cortisol levels to fight the stress, but also fight those unwanted side effects of stress, which is the hunger and possibly weight gain from it.
So you're saying that the adrenal glands emit this hormone, cortisol, when we're really, it's our fight or flight, right?
Yes.
And that has to do with us turning to food, happy food, good food, and not so good food, and eating it, and then starting to put pounds, and it relates back to the stress we're having.
Correct.
And therefore the food we chose.
Yep.
And what this product does is help calm that.
Yes.
That makes sense.
And another product that will help you de-stress is our enhanced stress relief. It's one of my favorites. It contains L-theanine, which is a
good.
natural extract from tea, and it enhances GABA signaling in the brain. So that calming GABA signal gets activated by L-theanine, and it also has lemon balm extract, which is tied to stress and calming activities.
So would a person try one, or with the price you guys have, I mean, it's half off, why not try all of them and take a month on each? Because I tend to think people find their thumbprint with maybe the tea extract or, one of the other extracts, but if price was no object, and since it's half off, it really isn't, I would try all 4 of these. But do you find different systems are affected by different products?
Correct. So different systems are affected by different products. If you want to go more towards the stress and the hunger issues, it's the advanced cortisol balance. If you have problems shutting off your brain at night, which I do, right before I go to sleep, is the enhanced stress relief with the L-theanine and the lemon balm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Melatonin, my producer, John, has been on, I thank God for your melatonin. It costs him a couple of bucks. It's so inexpensive and it's so high quality. This company has the answer. What's the question? Pick up the phone, give them a buzz. You will talk to nutritionists, very nice people. Even if you never bought one of their products, they want to talk to you because after you're done talking to them, you will, especially at 50% off. Don't go away. Dr. Semper and I are going to be right back and continue our talk on stress. Folks, we're talking with Dr. Semper from Life Extension about, does stress add pounds, right? And that begs 2 questions. Are you under stress, and have you added pounds? Many of us, she posed the question to me as we opened the segment, have I ever been? No, I've never been stressed. But I do find that to be true because when you're stressed or when you're angry, where is the cupcake? Boom. It's not, where are the raw almond, organic almond? So we turn to things that then add pounds on us. There are ways to suppress that from happening. Most companies don't know this. Most companies are not Life Extension, and they don't have Dr. Semper. So welcome back and thank you.
Thank you.
Would you just walk us down the aisle here a little bit and tell us about what you've already told us?
Sure. So we have our advanced cortisol balance, which helps with that stress-induced hunger and helps control that weight management around the belly area. And then we also have our enhanced stress relief, which contains L-theanine, lemon balm, just a natural, relaxed feeling that one will give you. And next, let's talk about something new. So our AMPK metabolic activator. And I'm sure you've heard of AMPK before.
Sure, of course. Scientific. You guys really started this, but the scientific community is all over this now.
Exactly. So what that does is AMPK is like an energy sensor inside our cells. And when it's activated, it tells the cells to, you know what, stop storing energy, let's start burning it. And where do they get that energy from? Fat. So this is what's going to help.
What a great idea.
Right?
So it's gobbling up?
It's
like a little
gobbling up.
Pac-Man?
I would imagine so.
Okay.
I've never seen them though. I've seen stuff under the microscope before, but not
that. You didn't see our
that.
Pac-Man? But that just makes scientific sense, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And it has been proven clinically that they tested it in obese individuals or overweight individuals that took this Gynostemma pentaphyllum extract, and they had decreased visceral adipose tissue deposits. So we have our belly fat. Our belly fat is either subcutaneous, right under the skin, or internally around organs. That's the visceral fat. The visceral fat is very, very dangerous. And as we age, we have more deposits that go from the subcutaneous deposits to the visceral fats, choking off our organs. So it's really a bad fat. And this study showed that supplementation with the Gynostemma pentaphyllum extract actually decreased that dangerous visceral fat.
That's
it's
exciting.
Amazing.
Min, what she's talking about is Dunlap. When your belly Dunlap your belt. She's talking about the fat we carry around the middle and the ability of nutrients in some cases to gobble it up. I mean, this isn't something you take for 2 days and say, wow, I can wear my 30 belt again. Stay on this, change, begin an exercise program, a regular one, change your diet and so forth. Along with these supplements, I'm telling you, I've seen this for decades. It's very exciting. So that's really exciting.
That's very exciting. And you just mentioned diet. Have you ever heard of the Mediterranean diet?
Yes, I have.
And we all know it's a really great diet, but it's a little hard to stick to sometimes. So what we've developed is basically the Mediterranean diet in a pill, where it provides all those bioactive components from the Mediterranean diet and delivers over 400 milligrams of polyphenols into the daily dose. I think it's 3 capsules per day. And that's our Mediterranean whole food blend. And next I'd like to talk about our optimized saffron. And this one will help us with satiety.
Make you feel full.
Make you feel full.
Okay.
Yes.
That's an important step in that whole stress eat thing. You know, I'm looking at this as a very well thought out, well-rounded approach.
Yeah.
You know, the Pac-Man, I feel full. You know, so what is in this that makes it work so well?
So that's the saffron that's in that. And
Okay.
saffron has been used for centuries. It's prized by people from Spain and in Iran as well. It's developed over there. We have 2% safranel inside that saffron product, which helps us feel full so we don't overeat.
Dr. Darla Semper was my guest today. She is a PhD. She is with Life Extension, a company I love, and you will too. You have any questions about today's show? Just pick up the phone and give them a buzz. They'll be happy to talk with you. And she wanted me to note 50% off everything today. So why not, folks? If you're carrying around weight and you don't want to and stress is maybe bugging you, this is the way to go. Thank you so much, Dr. Semper.
Thank you.
You bet.
I appreciate it.
Many years ago, I met a couple of gentlemen that were introducing a concept. I didn't know anything about it. This was the 1970s, early 1980s. It was called, go with me now, hang on, both hands, psychoneuroimmunology, right? Kind of the effect of stress on your immune system in the 1970s. Joining me right now is a dear new buddy. Her name is Dr. V. Dr. V knows so much about this. Here is a survivor of breast cancer. Here is one who watched her dad die when she wishes 20 years later she could have reversed it. I know she could have. She could have helped him with that. So she's going to join us right now and talk about one of her essential steps in recovery or getting well is number 4, heal those emotional wounds. I got to tell you, Dr. V, as a Vietnam veteran, sometimes I don't like to think or talk about those. And I bet you have to go deep with a lot of patients, yeah?
We do. We certainly do. Because women, first of all, are good caregivers and caretakers, right? So it's very uncomfortable sometimes to learn to take care of themselves. They may be good at all the physical things, the supplements, the coffee enemas, the structure. But when it comes to taking time to self-nurture and to self-love and to really do a lot of self-examination, drawing boundaries, sometimes that's very difficult. But we know that stress is the biggest carcinogen and the strongest carcinogen ever. I mean, that's been documented and proven time and time again. So it's very important when we work with women that they understand that it's not just getting rid of the bump or the lump, right? It's about transforming your whole life because as you said, and I say this all the time, if you keep doing the things you've always done, you're going to get the same results. And so it's about transformation and change.
How difficult is it sitting with the patient and talking about mom and dad, who may even be passed, talking about the bully, talking about the things that made you cry when you were 12, 15, 25 years old? How difficult is that? And are you always able to break through, or is there sometimes just a barrier around that person that you can't?
Well, when they first start working with us and when they join our community, they fill out a questionnaire. And one of them obviously deals with essential number 4. And the coaches look at, the areas of concern. Now, we're not psychologists, we're not therapists. So what we do is we give them a recommended list of reading certain books like Louise Hay or Dr. Bernie Siegel,
Yep.
books that'll help help them on their healing journey and understand. We also refer them to different therapists, energy psychology therapists like EFT, so they can get through those areas. Because I've always found that women who do not work through that stuff and they continue to be good stuffers don't do as well. You really need to address, and you mentioned psychoneuroimmunology, Candace Pert back in the 80s.
That's right.
Every thought you think creates a neuropeptide or a protein that communicates with every single cell of your body. So what goes on between these two ears is one of the most important aspects of healing.
Can I, and it's men too, you've just never been one. It's really interesting how deep this goes for men. We don't talk about it, especially if it deals with the war, if it deals with our dads. I'll never forget when I got back in Vietnam, Dad popped a beer. We come from a big Catholic family. He wouldn't let us touch the refrigerator. I came back, I was 21 years old, Dad popped a beer. Not only is it, in my opinion, the most putrid tasting stuff in the world, but it was extremely therapeutic. I could finally talk to Dad. How difficult was it when you found yourself with breast cancer to broach number 4, to really dig inward, to see where the hurt was?
Oh, that was very challenging. That was very difficult because I came from an environment of alcoholic parents, and they were wounded children themselves, so they did the best they knew how with the information they had at the time. But then I also discovered through the work that I was doing that I had been sexually abused from the age of 3 to 5 by a convicted pedophile in the late 1950s. Now imagine that, police going door to door back then warning families, but he gave me a lot of attention and gave me candy and he played with me, and I wasn't getting that from home. So when I discovered that, and my mother confirmed it, my sisters confirmed it, but they never told me about it. And so that answered so many questions for me. And we know that left breast, has to do with mothering and nurturing, self-love. And so there was another layer of the onion that I had to peel and work with.
How can folks get a copy of your book, or how can they get in touch with you?
They can go to breastcancerconqueror.com and fill out one of our caring assistant forms, or they can get our book on Amazon or on the website as well.
Breastcancerconqueror.com.
Conqueror, not just a survivor. I'm a conqueror.
Love talking with you. Thank you, Dr. V.
Thank you.
You bet. Bye-bye. I was probably 16 or 17. My parents both smoked. When I heard the word carcinogen, right? Didn't know what carcinogen was, nor did we have one of these dandies, So you go to the library, you look up the word, you write it down on a piece of paper, put it in your pocket, you get in the library at school, cancer? Cigarette smoking? Mom and dad's increased risk of cancer by smoking? Let's talk a little bit about what we know about carcinogens today. One thing I want to teach you, and I always want to do this on this show, is that fungi make poisons, some of which are carcinogenic. One of them is estrogenic. Yeah, but is estrogen a carcinogen? Okay, let's go. First, let's define it. A carcinogen is any substance or agent that tends to produce a cancer. And it says a cancer because the scientific community believes there's 100 or more kinds of cancer. I think the same poison that causes a lump to grow in your body can make that lump grow anywhere in the body, and then we give it different names. And of course, then there's different pharmaceutical drugs used for these and so forth. So let's study that. Carcinogens, there tend to be 2 categories. I think there are now 3, but the known categories reserved for those substances for which there is sufficient evidence of carcinogenicity from studies in humans that indicates a cause and effect relationship between the exposure and the human cancers. Okay, so carcinogenic cigarettes. We now know that there's a tremendous increase in cancers. Used to be lung, now it seems to be different kinds of cancers, and smoking cigarettes. I'll never understand that addiction, but I live in America where we're free to do what we want to do as long as it's legal and moral. And I don't have a problem with you buying cigarettes, okay? Same with alcohol. I think there's a thread. Oh my gosh, it's bigger than a thread. I think there's a lot of scientific evidence that now supports alcohol inducing many different kinds of cancer. I think there's 5 to 7 kinds of cancer that alcohol induces. I don't know why you do it. but I don't, and that's great. We live in America where you can choose to have a glass of wine if you so think that that's good for your health, okay? So then there is another category called reasonably anticipated. I think today we call this suspected. The reasonably anticipated category includes those substances for which there is limited evidence of carcinogenicity in humans or sufficient evidence of carcinogenicity in experimental animals. And folks, it's inhumane to try out a fungus we know causes cancer. You know, there are aspergilli fungi that make byproducts. One of them is called aflatoxin. We know it causes human cancers, right? It's inhumane to try that out on humans, so they try it out on pigs and chickens and so forth. And you have your aha moment. Where people eat a lot of this aflatoxin in other countries, we see a lot of liver cancer, so we suspect it. So let me just share with you a couple of known carcinogens. These things are known to cause cancer. Hepatitis B and hepatitis C virus, human papilloma virus, X and gamma rays. I always wonder about that when I'm going through TSA at the airport. Which am I getting? Aflatoxin, I just spoke about that. We know that this fungus byproduct causes human cancer, and yet it's in our corn, tends to be in a few of the peanuts and so forth. Be careful. Asbestos, mustard gas, coal tar, tobacco, both oral and smoking, and estrogens. Did you know one of these fungi, called Fusarium, makes an estrogenic mycotoxin, and we're commonly exposed to it? Just be careful. You don't want cancer. Now you know some of the ways we might be exposed to it. One of the reasons I just love when Life Extension is here, everything they put in a bottle has been substantiated in the scientific literature. You know, saffron, as expensive as it can be, half price. All this, half price today. Just mentioned you saw it on Know the Cause. Dr. Semper talked about it, half price today. How can you beat that? And then you'll get that free magazine subscription that I just got the other day in the mail. It's absolutely tremendous. You'll go cover to cover on that. Lots of information in that, folks. This is a well-run company, Life Extension. I'm so proud to be affiliated with them. What did you think about healing emotional wounds? We all have them. Look, I spent a year in Vietnam. We all have emotional wounds. What happens when we heal them? Thank you, Dr. V. And then finally, do you think it's that common? That which prompts the immune system, even a poison, if prompted too much, can fall into the category of a known carcinogen. Folks, thanks for being with us today. Do tell your friends to join us every day on Know the Cause, Monday through Friday. See you later.